All right. I think we've just started. I think we're good to go. Hello, welcome in everyone. Y'all been chatting in the chat without me. Faye's been keeping you all entertained. Hello, welcome in everyone. From what I can see, there's Daryl, Bunny, Adam, and Faye who are already in. I think I saw M. Basil as well. Yes, there we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the stream today. Oh, and Cinnabon Bun. Hello, welcome in. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about movement, the element. Nope, it's a principle of design. I'm so used to saying element of art. Hello, Adam. Welcome in. But today we are going to be talking about movement, the principle of design, in our Principles of Design series, where instead of them just being straight YouTube videos like the other elements, this time we are doing them as live streams. We'll be editing them down later, but for now we'll have this kind of live thing that we're doing. Hello, Lewis. Welcome in. And hello, Daryl. Welcome in, everybody, to this stream. And we'll talk a bit about movement once we get started. But for now, let's talk a bit about the channel. So if you did not know, our growing community is filled with tons of art nerds, and we art nerds have to stick together. So if you're an art nerd too, be sure to check out the links to our social media in the description below, and check out our website for our class offerings, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we are also an art school. So if you'd like to support us so we can keep making a free content, consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get access to tons of perks like my working files, critique sessions, and a huge discount on our classes that have a limited amount of spots. So be sure to check those out before they are gone. All right. Yay, we're live. Yes, we are. Hello, Faye. Hello, Blood Rio. Welcome in. Welcome in, everyone. Oh, we got a larger crowd today, I believe, in the chat at least. Hello. Hello, Eno. Welcome in. Eno Elost. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. I hope I pronounced that okay. Okay. Where are my notes? Because I always take notes for these ones, because I can never do it off the top of my head properly. Okie dokie. So, movement. Movement's a funky one, because like I thought I knew everything about movement, and then I did a little more research, because I know I always should, and then I'm like, oh, I learned something. So, movement. Hello, Ragu. Welcome in. Our friend Google states that movement is the principle of design. The principle of good design that gives the artist control over what the viewer sees next. Artists can create paths our eyes will travel with art. Hello, Shania. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. Okay, so movement as a principle of design is the principle of good design that gives the artist control over what the viewer sees next. So artists can create paths that our eyes will travel with art. Right, so movement is not only, you know, somebody is walking and you can clearly see that they're meant to be walking, right? Movement can be how our eyes are looking at an art piece, right? It's not just, you know, oh, they're dancing, I can see that they're dancing, right? It's also, oh, there's a pathway there, so my eyes will probably naturally go there. There's a staircase, my eyes will naturally walk up that staircase, right? Because it's ingrained in us to follow whatever we see. I didn't mean to send that, that's okay. But glad that you're here too, Shania. All right. So that's what movement is overall, right? It's a principle of design that kind of controls the overall movement of a piece, not just as somebody is walking, somebody's running, whatever. It's just how we move across an art piece. Hello, Gin Hit Entertainment. Welcome in. I suppose I just call you Gin Hit. Welcome in. Glad to have you in. We just started. So the first thing that we will talk about... yes. Thank you for saying that, Faye. The first half of our streams are usually my quote-unquote lectures. So that's when I start off by talking about, whatever the topic is for today. So that's movement. And then we'll be getting into the art portion. So I try to keep this as short as possible. But it may take a while. So the first topic that we're going to be talking about is movement. Movement. Hello, Angie. Welcome in. Movement with rhythm and repetition. I was having issues spelling repetition this morning for some reason. Will this be uploaded later, or is this only like a live thing? All of our live streams will be available as live replays afterwards. It's movement with rhythm and repetition. So these contribute to the overall unity of a piece creates. Hello, Gabriel. Welcome in. Creates. Relationships. My H's look awful. I'm sorry. I always write them weird. Create relationships between the components. In a piece. All of my writing is so slanted today. What's happening? Thank you for the reply. Of course. I don't know what's up with that. Apparently I'm angled today. All right, so moving with rhythm and repetition. Rhythm and repetition will contribute to the overall unity of a piece, and they create relationships between the components within a piece, right? So it's just like the general objects or the different elements within a piece, right? Not necessarily the elements of art, but like the things that are within the piece, right? Rhythm, repetition, and unity are all three different principles of design. And I know that I've just kind of thrown them out there, but I'll give you unity is kind of just like your overall composition, right? It's how everything works and flows together. But rhythm and repetition are the important ones, so I will explain those ones more. Hello, Mega Geek. Welcome in. So I'll define rhythm and repetition first, just so then we aren't too confused. So rhythm. Actually, no, let's do repetition first, because rhythm is kind of easier to understand if you know repetition first. Repetition is basically what it sounds like, though. Which is patterns. Actually, it should be repeated patterns. Within an art piece. Right, so repetition is repeated patterns within an art piece. And rhythm. How do I explain rhythm? That one wasn't part of my notes. But probably should have put them there. But I wrote the definition somewhere else because I am the blog writer and we've already done a blog about the principles of design. So let me pull that up real quick. Balance, contrast, proportion. Rhythm. Rhythm creates a type of visual tempo So it's similar to repetition, but blends movement in as well to create patterns. Okay, so this one is really like visual tempo. The use of patterns to create a sense of movement. The thing with principles of design, I realized, is that you're going to get a lot of like these music related ones. There's like rhythm and there's repetition and there's harmony is one of them as well. So you're going to get a lot of these like kind of music-y definitions. I guess it's another form of art, but same deal. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well as well, Mega Nerd. All right. So repetition and rhythm, again, two of the other principles of design, but we'll get to those once they pop up. Ah, yes, thank you, Faye, for the blog that I wrote. So in terms of repetition, repeated pattern within the art. Hello, Blue Diamond. Repeated pattern within an art. Does that mean you can see the art style from an artist so that you try to recreate someone else's art style? Not necessarily. I mean like literal patterns, right? Not necessarily like an art style. That is more harmony. Our art style more relates to harmony than it does to repetition and rhythm. I mean literally like if you have a square, triangle, square, triangle, right? That's your rhythm and repetition, right? Rhythm would be like if they all kind of spiraled into a section. It was like circle, square, triangle, circle, square, right? And they all kind of, maybe they got smaller as they go towards the center or something like that, right? That's more your rhythm and repetition. It's your harmony and unity is what your art styles will get to. Principles of design can be kind of tricky. They're a lot harder than elements because your principles are what help boost your elements of art. They're not quite as literal, so they're a little bit harder to explore. Mega nerds unite. We're the giga nerd bunch. Yes, like DDR, kind of. DDR you can kind of think of as like a sort of rhythm, I suppose. Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of these music-y sounding ones with principles of designs, which is kind of funny. So rhythm. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you heard that. Something just crashed outside my door. I should close my door. I got new headphones. They're wireless, so I can move around with these in my room. Pretty epic. Ah, now I get it. Thank you. No worries. Don't worry, it was confusing to me too when I first learned about it. Again, okay, repetition. Yeah, feel free to ask questions, guys. That's not how you spell repetition. Repetition. Right? Yeah, there's a lot of I's. Repetition. It always looks wrong, but I know it's right. Repetition creates movement when common elements. BRB. Need to take care of the pug. She did an oopsie. I understand. I have a bird, so she doesn't really do any oopsies, but I'm certain that Faye can attest to that one. Repetition creates movement when common elements are repeated. Yeah, just repeated. Variation. And variety, add interest and rhythm. The stars must have been aligned because I've been stumped on a design. There you go. And just a design. Natural flow. Right, so repetition creates movement when common elements are repeated. Yeah, my dogs can go crazy sometimes when I'm teaching online. I understand. My bird likes to go crazy if she hears other people. So like sometimes we'll be, if I'm in like a Zoom call around her, then she, or like a just like a call, and she hears the other people, she'll start to go mad. So like we usually either need to like cover her cage with a blanket or move her somewhere else, because if we don't, then she's gonna be disturbing everybody. So repetition creates movement when common elements are repeated. Variation and variety add interest and rhythm, or a natural flow. Verbs are truly the ultimate comedians. It's true, right? So a lot of the times when we think of repetition and rhythm, we think of like you just like regular patterns, right? Star, circle. I mentioned that, and it's true. That's one of them. Stairs, however, also count as a form of repetition, and stairs are a very, very good example of leading lines. Though we'll get to that later. And those repeated elements are really what help us. They help our eyes travel around, and it kind of stands out a little bit more, right? Or maybe you have like if you're kind of thinking of like something a little cuter, maybe there's like a bunch of ducks swimming in a lake, right? Or geese that fly south for the winter or something, right? Oh, that's a Canadian thing. I know that if you're in America, they come to y'all during the winter, but if you're down south, somewhere near Florida, our Canadian geese come and harass you for a few months. Um, but yeah, so those are all similar, like repeated elements, right? And for this section of repetition, this is the piece that we are going to be talking about. So this piece, what's this one called? Is Metamorphosis 3, Excerpt 4 by MC Escher. Right, so this piece is really, really obvious to tell why it's, repeated elements, right? It's literally repeated elements over and over and over. However, you can see our eyes naturally flow in this direction, right? Helps that they're all pointed this way, but we get to watch the metamorphosis, right? So we get to watch them slowly change as our eyes move over, right? So they start as birds, and then they slowly shift into boats, and then they slowly shift into fish, right? And our eyes naturally follow this pattern that is going across this entire thing. This is part of MC Escher's ginormous metamorphosis piece. There's a bunch of them. So this is excerpt, oh my goodness, this is Metamorphosis 3, excerpt 4. So this is part 4 of his third metamorphosis series, I believe. Something like that. Looks like birds and top hats. Yeah, I suppose so. All right, in some areas it looks like birds and top hats. But MC Escher was very famous for all of his very illusion-y type artworks, right? If you look up MC Escher, look at any of his works, your brain will hurt. It's a good time. There's fish as well on the left. Yes, there is. It's because it cuts off here because it continues onto another. So excerpt 3 would be over here, and excerpt 5 would be over here. I think there's a fifth one. I'm not certain. But yes, these fish are pointing in this direction, however. So it's kind of funky that it starts over here and you can kind of watch them go. But it creates a nice natural flow that our eyes follow it, and it's great to see. I'm realizing that I forgot a thing. All right, cool. Okay. The next section that we are going to be talking about is movement with a color. This one I think is going to be a little bit longer. I've got a lot of notes here. Hello, Duder. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Excuse me. Oh my god. Yes, we do have a MC Escher video on our channel, if you'd like to see it. The next portion that I'm going to be talking about is movement with color. Jessie, how do you move with color? I'm going to tell you. Don't worry. So there is movement with color. So color, I'm pretty sure we all know what color is. I don't think I need to give the definition for that one. So color can lead our eyes to specific points. Give me all those notes. I'm going to. Color can lead our eyes to specific points of a piece. Giving us a focal point. Path for our eyes. As someone with a very poor attention span, I find this very important, incredibly helpful. I understand. Focal point, path for our eyes to follow. Notice the color moving at the top and bottom of her screen. I'm gonna be legit. That's still like that's a GIF that I created in like maybe 3 minutes. I kind of want to redo it because it doesn't loop perfectly and it bothers me, but it's okay. Hello, Silver. Welcome into the chat. Right, color can lead our eyes to specific points of a piece, giving us a focal point or path for our eyes to follow. We have new people in the chat. It's really nice to see. Yeah, it's great to have new people. Right, so color can lead our eyes to specific points of a piece, giving us a focal point or path for our eyes to follow, right? So not only will color, create focal points, which is where our eyes will go first, but color can also create, leading pathways, right? It can work together with line to create very, very nice, movement throughout a piece, right? Maybe our eyes will follow a specific palette. A lot of the times you'll see that with analogous palettes. I think those are very, very common, where you'll see a lot of like moving colors because it kind of goes along. It's as if a color wheel was displayed in front of you, right? And your eyes will naturally go to the next color in the color wheel, right? So you'll kind of get to see all of that. Movement with colors, I think it's a little bit harder to work with, but it's a lot of fun. Color collective, blah, 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 blah. So let's talk about 2 types of color. We've already talked about color a lot on this channel. We have a color video with the rest of our elements of art videos. But let's talk about some color things that I didn't talk about with the video. So do gradients also play into this? Yes, indeed. That's what analogous is. So analogous, well, not necessarily. Analogous is like analogous is a color palette when, like, if you have the color wheel, all the colors are next to each other. So if you have like your wheel, all right, say if you start with red and then you go down to like yellow. Are we good? Nice. It was at 80 this morning. Why did it suddenly? Do you know what? It's because I was out and I didn't charge it. Oh well, we're good. We're good. Okay. As I was saying, sorry about that. Analogous is if you kind of go down. So you could technically do that with a gradient, but gradients aren't necessarily always analogous. Imagine having a headset that died. I'm sorry that I like my wireless headsets, okay? Oh wait, this is helpful, of course. All right, movement with color. We're good. We're back. All right. So 2 types of color that I want to talk about before we move on to anything. So there's high key color. Wireless for life. Yeah, exactly. Wireless, bad. I love wireless. Are you kidding me? I can move around my room properly and this wire doesn't annoy me. If you're wondering what headset I have a Logitech Lightspeed. Wire better. I'm sorry. I had wired headphones for a while. I can't deal with them anymore. High key color. As someone who needs to move around a lot. So high key color are colors with light. I'm generally okay with wired things, but my headphones, I hate it when they're wired. Light values and high intensity or saturation. I just joined. Does movement with color means animating or something? Nope, not necessarily. So movement with color is color that can lead our eyes to specific points of a piece, giving us a focal point or path for our eyes to follow. How do you write like that? With the G pen, I've tried to figure out for so long. I turned down my ooze to 1. I also have a screen tablet. I've been drawing digitally for a very long time. So I'm kind of used to it at this point. That's happened to me while I was teaching a class before. My wireless headset doesn't work when it's plugged in. Really? That's unfortunate. And your other Medibank territory, you drew Kirby, yeah. Light color, so pastels, yes. So high key color. Well, it has to have a high saturation as well. See, that would be like really, really bright yellow as well. Be like really bright yellow or like super bright orange or like this pink, right? That's kind of what this might burn your eyes. I'm sorry, but you know, pastels also count though. I believe, though their saturation isn't quite as high as these guys. So these are considered high key colors, right? Really, really bright, really intense kind of colors like this. Can I eat the art, please? Hello, Josh Stubbs. Welcome in. I don't know if you should eat the art. I think those are kind of toxic for you. So that's high key color. And then, of course, there's low key color. Hi, hello, Poppy. Welcome in. You're a teacher. Did not know. Yes, we're all teachers. Faye is my boss. Low key color. Colors with dark values. And low intensity and saturation. So that's kind of like if we went all the way down here, got some greens, some dull blues, some purples that are kind of deep and dark, right? So these are kind of our low-key colors. So they're kind of dull, dark, right? This is how you create your complementary palettes as well. Generally, you want something with very low saturation contrasted against, something with very high saturation. How are you all? I'm good, thanks. My eyes, the lights are off and the pink just glowed in my eyes. I'm so sorry. It's very sensitive. I understand. Hey, congrats on getting vaxxed. I might be your boss, but I learn from her every day. I learn from you every day, Faye. So I have a digital art where there's a pop of light colors. Can that mean a lantern at a busy city night? Yes, indeed. That tends to be the concept artist's favorite. If they have like a very deep blue scene and then like fire, right? Which is like very bright orange, right? And that leads your eyes to that directly. Thank you for telling me the next part of my, my lesson, saying it for me. So juxtaposing these two. Oops, that's too small. Juxtaposing those two creates contrast, which we already talked about. So if you'd like to see that live stream, check out the live stream replays. So juxtaposing those two creates a contrast, which, no, usually Eyes lead. 2. Whatever there's less of, right? So juxtaposing those two creates contrast. Usually your eyes will lead to whatever there's less of, right? Most of the time it'll be your high key color will have less of it in there, right? Like what who was it? Jin Hit mentioned, right? It was you know, usually if you have a really dark scene and then there's a lantern, your eyes will most likely go to that lantern first because there's less of that color. But if you have like a sea of really high key colors, right? If the most of it is yellow and then you got one spot of like a deep blue or deep purple, your eyes are going to reach that deep purple first. I've recently found out about the channel and online art school. From the videos that I've seen so far, I'm beyond excited to see the live drawing, as the youth say, jumping on the walls, as the youth say. Do you draw on a PC or a digital tablet? Both. So I have an HP Omen. I have my Cintiq, which is Cintiq 13 HD, which is plugged into my PC. So it is technically I'm drawing on a PC, but I use a tablet that is plugged in there. But if you're wondering, no, I don't use an iPad. I do want to get a Surface though, so I can draw on the go. Things are a little complicated here in Brazil. I can't have presential school. Used to love bright colors, now I can't stand it. It's kind of like a preference. I know some people like them more. First shot, the whole process is a bit slower here in Turkey. I understand. But still, congrats on getting vaccinated. Okay. Next piece of art that we're going to be talking about for this one. Oopsie doopsie. I bet you can't guess what this artist this is. I know I asked this, but I didn't really understand. How did you make the pen brush like that, transparent and smooth? It looks like watercolor. Oh, you're asking for my brush settings. If you go to the settings, you can turn on opacity by pressure. That's my favorite thing to have on for a lot of things. So depending on how hard you press, then it'll lower your opacity. Keep the opacity at 100 though. Turn on opacity by pressure. Turn my ooze down to 1. We canvas or virtual after COVID. All our classes are online now. Yep. Yeah, but I guess you can't. Bet you can't guess what artist this is. This piece is Fiesta in Figueres by Salvador Dali. So this piece is before Dali became a surrealist artist, is what this piece is. So this is, you know, every artist has like their before and their after, right? What they're known for and what they started, right? So Salvador Dali, this is his artwork before he became, you know, the crazy kind of artwork that we probably all know him for. And it's really, this one is really nice, right? You can see super pressure when I use it, it looks bad. It's hard to get used to. This one, right, you can, right, immediately your eyes go to these fireworks that are right here. Thank you so much for telling you, of course. Your eyes immediately go to these lights, right? These are your high key colors within this piece, right? And slowly, because they're circular, your eyes kind of radiate outwards. So first you kind of start with the lights, right? Also because of this line that leads down towards the crowd, right? Which is your low key colors. And then slowly your eyes start to radiate around the whole canvas, right? This whole canvas, even though it's a square or close to a square, it's very, very circular. The entire composition is very, very circular. And your eyes will lead very rounded around the entire piece. And that's great, right? This has a very nice, so this is an example of using your color to be able to do that. I love Dali. Me too. Dali is probably one of my favorite historical artists, but this definitely doesn't look like any of his work that we know. Oh goodness, this is getting very small. So let's change the canvas size. Let's make this 8,000 because we got two more concepts to talk about. BRB real quick, dinner time. Just when things were getting wild. Yeah, no worries. Have a good dinner. Okay. Don't worry, you'll probably be back before we actually get to illustrate anything. Yeah, this is taking a lot longer than I expected. Okay, it's time to move faster. All right. Second to last one. This is the one that most of us probably know. And there's a lot more to this one. I should have made this one first, but whatever. So this is movement with line. So line can be used. Thank you, of course. Love the palettes and the Renaissance? I think that's how you spell it. Renaissance? That's how we spell it over here. I'm not sure if that's how you spell it, though. If not, then I'm sorry. I've never heard of that, but I will see if I can find it. So movement with line can be done in a couple ways. First one that we're going to be talking about is leading lines. Right? If you've watched our line video, we definitely have talked about this one before, but we'll talk about it again. Yeah, Renaissance. I quite like the Renaissance as well. I think that the Renaissance... I'm kind of mixed on the Renaissance. Some of the paintings I really, really love. Or Baroque. I really like Baroque stuff. The Romantic period as well. I'm a very big fan of those. I don't know why. Some of them, not all of them, but... You got it pretty close, if that's not correct. Fail, probably know how to spell it. So your leading lines are lines that point in a... I'm still improving my English. That's all good. Specific. Your English is excellent if it's not your first language. Lines that point in a specific direction to lead eyes around a piece. Yeah, English is hard, guys. As a native English speaker, English is hard. So good on all of you where English is not your first language. Renaissance. Okay, yeah, so there's extra A's in there. You're close, though. So leading lines are lines that point in a specific direction that lead eyes around the piece. So our initial two pieces already have leading lines in them. Right, our MC Escher one, because everybody is pointing this way, all our elements are pointing this way, those create some kind of leading lines that make our eyes go that way. Right, not only the pattern, but also the direction of everybody. It points, it kind of allows our eyes to go in a specific direction. Yeah, to Google, understandable. And with the MC Escher one as well, right, we have this big bright line that goes down towards the crowd, right, and to the lightest point of color, right? Our eyes automatically lean down towards this line, right? It's almost like an arrow, right? If you're wondering if leading lines are as obvious as that, usually they are. It's just we don't usually register that they're there, but they always work. Leading lines are great for background art. If any of you want to do landscapes or backgrounds in general, your leading lines are so important. And the other one that more of you are probably more familiar with, well, leading lines you're probably familiar with anyway, because even though if you didn't know their definition, you've seen them everywhere. Right, so the one that we're a little bit more familiar with is action lines. Oh, in Turkish we spell it, I can't pronounce that, so I had to reach very far. I mean, pretty good. Action lines are the ones that most of us probably know. Right, so they're often emphasized with cartoons and anime. But are present in all figures. So they are lines that show the action of an individual. Portuguese, I can't pronounce that either, I'm sorry. I don't know how to translate the pronunciation. I understand. That's all good. Interesting to hear it in other languages, though, or read it in other languages. how we'd pronounce that over here is, you know what? I'm not going to attempt it because if I do, I'll get mad at myself. So, action lines are often emphasized with cartoons and anime, but are present in all figures. So every single person that you draw will most likely have an action line of some kind, right? So lines that show the action of the individual, right? So in figure drawing, you'll mostly have that line of action, right? So if somebody's, if you have somebody reaching up, say if you have like somebody reaching to like the top of a shelf and like tippy toeing, and the other leg is like that, your action line is gonna be kind of like that. I didn't really draw the figure that well, but it's kind of like that, right? Let me draw that figure a little bit better, just for the sake of the this thing, our little lecture sheet, which you can download on Discord if you join our Discord. Right, so if you have somebody reaching kind of upwards, one foot on the ground, kind of like that. That's unbalanced. If you kind of have one leg on the ground, kind of like this, and then the other leg is up, kind of like that, maybe, just to make the pose a little bit cuter. But if they're kind of like that, then your line of action will be something like that, right? So your line of action will show kind of the direction that somebody's energy is going in. I guess that's the kind of pretentious way I could explain it. But action lines, a lot of the times you'll see if somebody is running, right? With cartoons, if somebody's like running. Let's take a look at my running pose that I can never get right on the first try, so I always have to redo it a bunch of times, but this time I'm not going to bother. Because I'm actually very bad at running poses. I think they're one of my worst ones. As much as I love poses, running is my weakest in terms of dynamic poses. I can see in the description. I joined it. Thanks for notifying. Of course. Right? So if you add like all these little extra lines kind of like that, you'll see them a lot on cartoons and whatever, right? These are your action lines as well. But yes, leading lines are a favorite of background artists. So if you're more of a background person, figure that out. Action lines, so fighting scenes. Yes, action lines are usually used with fighting scenes, running, jumping, stuff like that. Sorry, I'm reading the chat back now. Usually Jessie does the drawing demo the second half of the stream, yes. And we take the requests on our Discord, mostly. I have a few figure drawing videos and live streaming on our channel. Jessie is teaching our figure drawing intensive program this summer. Yes, I am teaching the figure drawing this summer. That's me. All right. You'll see here that there's something called implied movement. So for lines, we're not doing an actual moving character, but we're going to be talking about leading lines as our example this time around. Oh goodness, that's the wrong layer. That's the right layer. So this is our leading lines example. This piece is, what's this one called again? This one is Horizon by John Harris. He's a modern artist. He's still alive, unlike the other two. I like having a modern artist in here too. But yes, this is Horizon by John Harris. I believe he's still alive. I don't remember. But there are actually two examples of leading lines in this piece. Right, the very figure running. That figure running. Yeah, he is. There are two places of leading lines in this piece, right? The very first and obvious one, because it is using color as this contrast, right? This yellow, this orange is very contrasted against this blue, right? This piece actually breaks the general rule of like, usually when you have your complementary palettes, you want one color really saturated, one color really dull. Both the blue and the orange are very saturated in this piece, which is usually very uncalled for a lot of more classic artwork. But it works quite well, right? And because they're so bright and contrasted, our eyes immediately go to these leading lines, right? Our eyes automatically go towards this thingy in the direct middle, right? I don't know what it is, but it looks cool, right? Very geometric, because everything is pointing in that direction, right? Our leading lines help bring our eyes towards something. And it also helps that we have these kind of leading lines here, they're pointing, so they kind of go upwards. So our eyes somewhat go upwards, but they also help frame this thing as well. So it gives it a nice circular frame around it. It's almost like it's circling it, right? Like our eyes immediately travel there. Piece is very confusing. Is at the top or the bottom? Don't know. That's what's interesting. This is an abstract work. Abstract, you making sense of it is not your job. You're supposed to feel from it, right? Abstract work is you're not supposed to really recognize quite as much that's there. It's more like Jackson Pollock, right? If you look at any Jackson Pollock's pieces, some people will debate whether it's art at all. But, you know, many things within art are more about the feeling rather than the recognition. Oh, am I gonna have to make this larger again? No, I don't. I can just make this smaller. Let's make this smaller and kind of put it off to the side a little bit. And let's put this one off to the side as well. Depending on how long this lecture portion takes me, I might actually not make the final illustration too detailed. We'll see what happens. What I feel from this is pure confusion. Valid. Abstract art isn't for everyone. Personally, I'm not much of an abstract art person either. I guess it's because I'm a cartoonist, but whatever. I'm a comic artist, so it's like my job is to make sure that it's recognizable, everything that I draw. But you know, feel dizzy for looking at it for too long. Then you shouldn't look at anything by MC Escher. Okay, and our final one, which is the easiest one to understand, is implied movement. Or action. Right? So this is literally just when you draw someone moving. Literal movement. Right? So implied movement or action is literally just when they're moving. Right? You got somebody walking? That's movement. Right? Got somebody dancing? That's a movement. I think that was the intention of the artist. Yeah, probably. We don't know. We'll never know. Unless they say something, but we don't know. Right? So implied movement or action is when you draw someone moving, right? So that creates literal movement within your piece. Right? If you have somebody who's actually walking, they're literally moving. But just because I want to throw one last definition at you, the best way to get implied movement is with dynamic posing. All right, and that's with poses that have movement. And feel fluid. Right? So those poses that I drew earlier, these are considered more dynamic, right? If somebody's actually moving, if something has like, it feels a little more natural, right? You don't want somebody standing there in an A pose or a T pose, right? That feels very stiff, right? Dynamic posing is usually the person is standing there like in a more natural thing. Maybe they have weight on one leg. Maybe they're actually dancing or moving or whatever. I gotta say, this is way more understandable than most of the classes I've taken. I'm glad. I find that I'm kind of bad at explaining stuff sometimes, so I was kind of nervous for this stream, actually. I'm not very great with movement, but in terms of teaching it, but I'm glad it's understandable to you. I never actually took any actual art classes. My family can't afford it. And I have also never taken any actual art classes, so nothing is impossible. As long as you practice enough. Practice enough, have enough determination, because there are tons of free art resources everywhere. Jessie's great at teaching. I never understand how 2 hours can pass by so quickly. Oh, thank you. But yes, I am completely self-taught, right? The only art lessons that I've had are in school, right? Like just general school knowledge. I've never taken any extracurriculars for art. So dynamic poses are poses that have movement and feel fluid, right? So our final, you're actually really good at teaching. Thank you. I mean, I hope so. I am one of the instructors, but sometimes I feel like I'm not amazing. So our final piece, oh my god, I'm always on the wrong layer. My final piece, because we always have to have something that's a little more modern in there, you know, is a panel from one of my favorite mangas, One Punch Man, right? Yusuke Murata, right? Legendary artist, right? Like, whenever I give like an anime example, it's always going to be One Punch Man because he's just so good. Right? There are other artists I would love to give examples from, but they're a little less family friendly, so can't really show those. But this piece is gorgeous. I love this one. Just one of the, this is a full panel spread, I think. That's the classes I meant. Those art classes from 5th grade. Yeah. And yeah, free art lessons every Friday. So I will be streaming every single Friday. The teachers were interesting to see, to say the least. Yeah. Yes, this is a gorgeous piece. His line work is legendary, right? I can actually zoom in on this one because it's really high resolution, right? This line work is gorgeous, and a lot of it is done traditionally, right? If you've never watched the live stream that Yusuke Murata did where he actually lined some of One Punch Man traditionally, I don't know how he does the speech bubbles, right? So fast, single stroke, and I'm like, you're a legend, you're a god. I can't do that, right? Absolutely gorgeous. I watched the first season of One Punch Man, never watched the second because I heard that it was bad, so I just continued with the manga, and I love the manga. Artist Rule is one of my inspirations. Yes, he's wonderful at art. Um, but yeah, obviously implied movement, right? I chose this one not only because it's like obvious, right? They're all kind of walking, right? But it has elements of everything else in there, right? If they use a lot of contrasting areas for your eyes to go to first, right? Your eyes, they automatically kind of go here, right? Because there's the immediate, really dark colors right here, right? And then everything else kind of becomes less deep in value as you go outwards. Thank you, Jessie. Of course. Welcome in, Venom. My dream is to be a mangaka. I do comic art on the side. It's fun. It's very tricky, but it's fun. Mom doesn't like to pay for stuff that isn't useful. She gets me sketchbooks because I love drawing. Yeah, sketchbooks are great. This piece also has leading lines. You'll see all the lines on the bottom. They're action lines and leading lines, right? So they imply the movement. They're going somewhat quickly, but they also imply the direction. They also help with perspective, right? Action lines are one way to help with perspective as well, right? You can tell the this is actually a 3-point from what I can tell. The vanishing point is like all the way back here, right? Somewhere far, far off. But it helps kind of imply the direction that everybody is going in. Right, your lines are so important. So important. Line art is so important. Whether how messy or clean that you do it, right? Because not every single line artist is a super clean line artist, right? And that's totally fine. That's all up to you. But in terms of movement, this piece has a lot of movement, and it's great and it's gorgeous. As much as let's just continue to do it. Hello, Jam. Welcome in, Jam CTZ. You can learn a lot on your own, but if you want actionable feedback on your artwork, join our art mentorship, live critique sessions on Discord through Patreon. Yes, it is always just good to get, feedback on everything that you do. With that, though, that's the lesson portion over. That took a lot longer than I expected, but yeah, we're good on that. Hello, Susu. Welcome in. We're good on that portion. So, yeah, if you don't know much about what we do around here, at the end of our lecture bits, we always do a final illustration. Yeah. We always do kind of a final illustration that kind of goes along with whatever we teach. And this time around, because we were doing movement, we always have a poll to see what I'm going to be drawing at the end. This time around, the poll had voted for the final illustration being a fight scene, right? So more literal movement in terms of everything. Line art is beauty. I love line art. You just got me just when I'm wondering how to improve on my poses. There you go. Perspective is really hard. Perspective is really hard, especially if you're not used to it, right? I love perspective. I love perspective because it's hard. As I say to all of my students and everyone who knows me as an artist, I am an advocate for artistic pain. No pain, no gain. you know? And this time around, right? Um, again, we are doing a fight scene, right? So, let me think. How am I going to do this? Because as much as I love fight scenes, sometimes they can get a little bit annoying to draw. Because I'm like, what poses do I want? I should have thought of this beforehand. Sometimes if you're ever kind of stuck, you can just kind of start and worry about it afterwards, right? I'm feeling very anime-ish in terms of like what I'm thinking. But I don't like drawing melee. I always like drawing weapons. I'm a very weapon type of person. If I have the ability to draw a scythe, I will. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, you know what we can do? If we kind of have... Notice how I'm zooming all the way out. That's because I'm trying to not focus on details right now. I'm just trying to focus on my pose. This is how I thumbnail. So it's like if I have one person kind of... Let's do that fun thing where it's like they kind of like... Let's do that matrix thing. Oh, there's going to be foreshortening with this leg. I guess I'm going to have to live with that. Sword fights are good because the direction of the swords can be used as action lines. Indeed. I feel really smart whenever I do perspective, right? It's like a confidence boost. Very true. And yeah, our next videos are going to be all about perspectives. If you'd like to kind of boost your perspective knowledge, they're about to happen. I love teaching about perspective. My students hate it when I teach about perspective because I enjoy it too much. Like, Jessie, why do you like this kind of pain? And I'm like, it's because it's painful. That's why it's fun. A lot of digital tool art programs also have really, really good perspective like tools, right? Even though I'm working in Medibank right now, my normal digital art programs are Clip and Photoshop. Now it feels better. Always trying to improve. Yes. Looks like a Tio pose. Yeah, I suppose so. I'm like one of the very few people who does not like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but you didn't hear it from me. Great to approve. How do you keep your passion or inspiration? I've been struggling to make anything for a while, and I really can't get out of the art block. My favorite thing to give. One of my favorite things to give tips on. One of my things, I rarely get art block. One of the things is just to constantly stay inspired. I have a lot of things that inspire me. You know, I have my own original story, so I always constantly kind of do that. I like to intake things, right? So reading or watching new things, playing new games, right? It's always good to constantly intake new sources of inspiration, but it's also good to have a fail-safe, right? My fail-safe always tends to be a Ghibli movie. If I'm really feeling down in terms of like not being able to draw anything, I'll watch a Ghibli movie. Set aside like an hour and a half, watch that. Instantly my inspiration is up. All right, and I've watched so many that I can watch specific ones to, to be able to like boost my inspiration in a specific way. That doesn't look right. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm always bad at action poses on the first try. Right, you'll notice that I'll do a lot of my other stuff on the first try. This one I can't do on the first try. No way. Gotta go, got them notes. All right, thanks so much for joining, Adam. An artist says, don't worry, I'll get bad at overtime. My mind, you won't. You should, and you will. As long as you continue to practice, right? I know I always hear that too. Young artists hate hearing you got to practice to improve, but it is literally your best bet, right? If you sit there and feel sorry for yourself, you're never going to get better, right? As harsh as that sounds, it is the truth, right? And as long as you're observing and drawing, you'll get better. Peace, everyone. Peace, Adam. Bye. As long as you're observing and drawing, you will get better. Indeed. It's always good to observe, have your references. Don't draw without them, especially if you're unsure about something. I spent 20 minutes looking for a specific reference of a light, and when I couldn't find it, I used my own and changed the entire illustration. You know? Make your own references. Get your friends to help you. Download Pinterest. I'm sorry that I'm telling you to do that, but it helps a lot. Google has good references. Pinterest has better ones. Interesting. I'll try to see if that'll help in any way. Thank you. Of course. My issue is I don't really improve because I can't focus on a single thing. Like, I want to draw and also learn animation and go all over the place. You got to focus on one thing at a time. That's the thing. I want to do so many things as well. This is bothering me. I don't like this. I want to do a bajillion things as well, but if you don't focus on one thing at a time, you'll never get better. It's like, it's good to be, you know, versatile. But if you focus on too much at a time, then instead of versatility, you'll just confuse yourself. Do I stream on Twitch? No, I do not. But hello, Rami Animates. I use what I'm trying to learn in my illustration. Valid. If you set a schedule for things you want to try, you could do that too. Pinterest is the best, honestly. Pinterest is the best for references, yeah. Yeah, Pinterest is great for references. In terms of like inspiration or whatever. When I just need general things, Google works just fine. Right, I needed a car interior, Google worked perfectly fine. I'm trying to figure out how this is gonna work. I might actually just have to change the canvas. Pinterest is great, but my own body is better. Yes. Yes, get a mirror. Yeah, I don't stream on Twitch because this is not my channel. I am just an employee of it. Bye, Jessie. Bye, Venom. Thanks so much for joining. How am I gonna do this pose? I'm like... Sorry, I'm really going back and forth with this one. I've always found that I'm really bad with fighting action poses. I don't draw a lot of fight scenes. As much as they're, like, good. Is anime art style and character design style the same? Anime art style, very broad. Character design style, even more broad. Character design does not have a style. Anime does have a kind of a specific energy to it, but not all anime looks the same, right? I can name like a good 7 manga that don't look anything alike, right? They all come from Japan. They're all within that umbrella term of manga. But they don't look alike at all, right? I can't name all of them because not all of them are appropriate. But you know, One Punch Man looks nothing like Sailor Moon, which looks nothing like My Hero, which looks nothing like JoJo, right? All anime, all very different, right? So it's all about kind of with that. Character design has no art style at all, right? Character designers all have different art styles. How am I going to do this one? This one is like, this leg would be bent, I think. And that's going to cause a tangent. I'll have to fix it. I'll do a second pass of sketching. There's going to be another thing there. Is this correct form? Absolutely not. Hello, Burfin. Welcome in. I have no self-esteem to use my own body as a reference. Well, that's a little bit different, right? Because usually, it's just about like posing, right? If you can't do it with your own body, then the pose probably can't either. But you can kind of break that rule with anime, anime and cartooning. I think the anime style does have a difference in standard anatomy. Understanding you should learn realistic anime anatomy first. Yes. I'm making a comic book, and the assassin skeleton extension's by like 5 feet. The bones are iron, so at night when he wants to find people to, yes, he, K-word, he extends, or if the person is too far away, he can extend. Interesting. Good luck. My comic is about a boy in a normal town, and definitely 100% normal things happen in this town. Lately, I've been trying to get better with my shading, which is hard shading, but when it comes to hair, I have no idea how to place my black when it comes to grayscale streaks. It's everywhere. Ah. So you start with grayscale. I don't do that. I started trying to do that, and I ended up not really liking the way that it looked. But that's a fantastic technique. Usually, it's like the starting with the grayscale and then moving from that is a great technique. Usually, you think of your hair as blocks instead of single strands, right? Think of your hair as blocks or like big ribbons, right? If you have your, oof, that's messy. It's okay. If you have your person, right? It all depends on light source as well. Hair is translucent, right? So if you have your light source coming from above, your lightest stuff will be up here. Dark will be underneath the hair down here. You can have it as a gradient as it goes down towards here, right? You'd have your light reflection, stuff like that. But if it's from behind, right, you'll have sources of translucency because of the hair, because even though hair is technically opaque, each strand is so thin that your hair kind of becomes translucent. Best bet, look up references. Learn the rules so you can break them. That's the one. That's the thing I always say. Thanks, no worries. Yeah, learn the rules so you can break them. Very true. Start off with realism in your basics. Even though I didn't do that, I wish I did. You know what I'm saying? How's this hand gonna work? It's like, if this hand is back here, thumb would be outwards. Okay. Studio Trigger has awesome and wild art style they can get away with because they know what they're doing. The boys are fighting. The boys are fighting. Oh, what was I gonna say? Studio Trigger. That's right. I know a few things by Studio Trigger, but my favorite thing by Studio Trigger that I will always tell people about is Inferno Cop. Because you wouldn't be able to tell that it was made by a professional studio. Inferno Cop is free to watch on YouTube. It's the most ridiculous thing you'll ever watch. And it's my favorite thing ever. One of my friends showed it to me a while ago. And he was like, Jess, I know that you don't really watch anime quite as much anymore, but you gotta watch this. And I was like, why? And he's like, trust me. Just trust me. All right. And I was like, okay. So I sat down. Took me maybe like an hour or two. I was cry laughing. Inferno Cop. I was cry laughing at it. I haven't had that much fun watching an anime in a very long time. Because I find that some anime just take themselves too seriously, right? I think that's why I really like One Punch Man too. It's like it clearly just it's an anime about people who hate themselves. I think that's why I really like it. You know? Oh, this angle is hard. I did this to myself. I did this to myself. Oh god. I need to get better at the Loomis method. I'm really not great at it. I gotta practice. I have to go. Thanks for the stream and tips, guys. Of course. Thanks so much for joining, Poppy. I have so many tabs open with the links Faye's been sending. Those links are really good. Good. I'm glad. That's not correct either. This is a hard one, guys. I did this to myself. I should have done people dancing instead. That one would have been easier to achieve. Bye, Dudu. Oh, no, Dudu's still saying. He's saying bye to Poppy. I misread that as people. LOL. Bye. Inferno Cop is an anime. The loosest sense of the word, yeah. Inferno Cop is voiced by one dude. Barely has animations. Definitely recommend it. Inferno Cop, I think I'll recommend just as much as I'll recommend Neon Knuckle Sugar Girls. Again, a barely anime. I guess it isn't. It's drawn in MS Paint. It's fantastic. Just make sure that you don't need to draw anything anytime soon when you watch it, because when I watched it for this first time, I couldn't draw for like a couple hours. It like broke my ability to draw for a bit. Go buy some Starbucks coffee, it'll help. I'm not much of a Starbucks person. Jesse, what's my all-time favorite anime and manga? One of my all-time favorite is Clannad. I do know that one. Fight scenes are like a dance. I prefer dancing Yuri. Yuri is one of our lovely instructors here. She is our animation instructor. I'm one of the illustrators, or Yuri teaches animation. And I will say that every single time that Yuri pops up. And I do know what Clannad is. That's an oldie. My all-time favorite manga, I can't say any of them, but my all-time favorite appropriate manga and anime is Full Metal Alchemist. I love Full Metal. What is the name? Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist. I love Full Metal. That one was fantastic. I really like Hunter x Hunter as an anime as well. I haven't read the manga. My extreme phase with it, I kind of got out of before I could watch the anime. But yeah, I can't really say the titles of any of my actual favorite mangas. Just because they're not PG-13, so I can't really say them. Or they're over PG-13, so I can't say them. FMA has a solid dub. I haven't heard the dub. I prefer subs. Oh, the MS Paint one? That's Neon Echo Sugar Girls. There are 10 episodes. I've seen them all twice. Each episode is like a good 5 minutes, except for the last one, which I think is 10. It'll take you an hour or so to watch. It's the best thing you'll ever see, I promise you. It's painful to watch, but also it's amazing. I've yet to see Full Metal Alchemist. I read it. I read it in 2 days. I never finished the anime. I watched a few episodes of the original one, but I know I was supposed to watch Brotherhood, even though I didn't. First anime I've ever watched holds a special place in my heart. Yeah, fair enough. It's a good one. Full Metal is a really good one. No worries. Yeah, it's not good. If you're hoping to have a good time out of Neon Knuckle Sugar Girls, not in terms of art, it's a good time. It's a good time because of just kind of how bad it is. But you know, it's one of those things. It's like it's so bad that it's good. You know what I mean? Oh, hands. How are you the easiest thing to draw right now? Oh, it's 5:13. Oh my goodness. We've passed the top of the hour. Give me a moment then. How's this hand gonna work? Because I don't think... Looks at my own hand. I don't think that pose would work. No, it wouldn't. You would have to be facing downwards. Alchemist. Yes, I cried watching that. Valid. That's valid. I cried while reading it. So I know that the anime would wreck me. Me slowly trying to figure this out. I'm like... Should I have gathered a reference? Probably. That would have been the smart thing to do. Unfortunately, this is why I didn't go into any of the STEM fields, because I am not intelligent. I left that to my STEM friends. It's like whenever I need a STEM question answered, hey STEM friends, you guys help me? I'm trying to find a good time to draw on break time so I don't overwork myself. Yes, good. Overworking is bad for you. Sometimes you will have to crunch. It sucks, but sometimes you gotta do it. But overworking too much, VV bad for you. The hems of your clothing are what help push perspective, so especially if you're drawing a body in perspective, your hems will help with that. Like the ends of pants and things like that, right? They'll kind of enforce whatever perspective is happening. So I'm trying to use that to my advantage. My art crutch is I used to use is giving characters capes and masks so I don't have to draw hands and faces. Oh, everybody does that. But instead it's with pockets. I love drawing hands, so I used to avoid it all the time, and then I got older, and now I'm like, dude, hands rule, bro. It's a great trick. Yeah, no, lots of people use like pockets to hide them. Okay, wait, give me a second. I'm gonna finish the sketch of this guy, and then we'll do our top of the hour general thing. I'll also fix this because I can already, I can already tell there's stuff wrong with it, but I will fix that. Ugh, this one's hard. This is fun though. A challenge is always welcome here. Yeah, I may end up doing this one really rough. With really rough line work, just because make it look just a tad cleaner, I suppose. That's what I did before. Never draw the face. Oof, I could never not draw the face. I hate drawing the backs of people. Like, I love drawing backs, but they're so hard. Back muscles are the hardest thing for me. I know just in terms of like I'm unable to draw them without a reference. Like a lot of things I can draw without a reference, like because I've kind of memorized it. This I should have gotten a reference for. That was my own fault. But a lot of things I can draw without reference. Backs I can't still. Like I have to look up a reference every single time I draw somebody's back like open, because I'm just so bad at it. Like I haven't memorized the muscles or anything, so I'm pretty bad at it. I have to figure it out. Conquer the difficult stuff and all that improvement. Yes. Gotta learn to love drawing hands. Yes. No pain, no gain. Yes, Yuri. Yes. 10-minute break after I found out what I want to draw. 20-minute art time, 30-minute break time. Yeah. Me at me, who sits at the desk for 4 hours drawing. I like drawing for long periods of time. I don't get burnt out when I do that. When I'm really inspired, I can sit at a desk and draw for like 7 to 8 hours straight. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. Gross. Oh well, I'll fix it in a second. But it was the top of the hour a little while ago, so you know what that means. These files that you see in front of us. Wait, no. Ha! It's been a while. Okay. If you didn't know, I know a lot of you are new here. Hello, welcome in. I'm glad to have you here. But if you didn't know, I am not the only person within this channel. Even though I am the one streaming and you see and hear my voice all the time. Well, actually, you don't see my face at all, but you hear my voice all the time. I am not the only person within the studio. I am just the person you see the most. We are not only a YouTube channel, but we are also an art school. So if you'd like to check out any of the classes that we offer, Yuri is our lovely animation instructor. Faye is my lovely boss, but she also teaches. So if you'd like to take any of our classes that are available, summer camp is coming up. So if you'd like to take any of the classes that are available, I am teaching the advanced ones, but if you'd like to challenge yourself, feel free to join them. Check out our website for all of the links to those. And these files that you see in front of you, this one and this one, will both be available to download on our Discord as JPEGs. So if you'd like to take them for yourself, keep them, download them, save them, do whatever you want with them, just don't repost them. They are all yours, right? So you can reference them as much as you want. But you'll notice that there's a lot of layers on here, but there's also going to be a bunch of layers on this one because I'm going to have to keep on resketching it. So if you would like access to those, you're going to have to join our Patreon where you can get access to some of my working files. Every other week I will upload a working file over there, and you'll also get behind the scenes of the stuff that happens here at the studio, whether that's with our teachers, our lesson plans, or things that we're planning for YouTube in the future. All of those you'll be able to see on our Patreon, so feel free to check those out. All of them are links in the description. You'll be able to see all the ways that you can support us there. All right. Thing I'd love to draw faces. Thing is, I'd love to draw faces and expressions, but I really suck. Even with reference, I just tend to leave it to the body to convey feelings. You'll never get better if you don't practice. Right? You'll never get better if you don't practice. Here's reference for you. For 2 years, I spent drawing. 2 years I spent just drawing bodies over and over, like muscles. Sorry, muscles. That's the one. Anyone who knows me IRL, you'll know that I drew muscles all the dang time, right? And I got better at them, right? I was very bad at muscles growing up. I could never draw them, right? I drew a lot of lean, very thin people, right? And I wanted to learn how to draw muscles. I was just very bad at it. So as I got older, I started to focus more on it, right? I started to focus on it and go like, okay, I really got to learn how to do these, or else I'm going to be stuck in a rut forever. So you gotta practice it, right? I grew up drawing faces, right? I grew up drawing people and characters and everything like that. Everything like that. But yes, you will get better. You will always get better, as long as you practice enough. Practice enough, use enough reference. And just because you're using reference doesn't mean that you're learning, right? Make sure you're understanding what you are looking at, right? Your references aren't just about, I see it, I copy it, right? Understand what's happening. How do the muscles move? What is in what position, right? What does this position look like? What does that position look like, right? How is the leg moving? Where is the calf in relation to the thigh? Where is the torso in relation to the arms, right? Make sure you're understanding what you're looking at, right? It can get difficult. It is hard in the beginning, right? It takes a lot of time to get used to. But you're learning, and you got to give yourself room for that. Perfection is overrated, especially if it's your first time. Happy with the small improvements I've made with studying anatomy recently. Got to keep going through. Yes. Good, good, good. Improvements are best for you. I want to upgrade my character design and get into comics. Yeah. Comics are tricky. I started off in game art, so I started off with like going into a career in game art. And then I started writing my own comic midway through, or not midway, like during my school term, right? During my college term. And like it kind of made me realize like that in my grades. Like none of my grades were bad. It was just you could always tell what I cared about, right? My illustration. All right, here's my subtle flex for the day. All of my grades were an 85+%, right? So every single class that I had at least an 85% in, which is an A in Canada. But my illustration and my pre-production is concept art and all that fun stuff. What was it? Figure drawing or live drawing was I had 99% in my first semester, 100% in my second, and then it was flipped for my pre-production. So I had 100% at my second semester and 99 in my first semester, something like that. I don't know, but I had 99 plus for both of those classes, so it was like I wasn't doing bad. You can just kind of tell what I cared about more, right? And midway through I kind of realized, I was like, whoa, I like drawing comics. And I was like, maybe this is what I want to do more, right? I guess I should have known. I've been drawing in comics since I was a kid, right? But you know, comics and writing stories, I'm such a storyteller. I love stories, right? You can kind of tell I just always tangent into stories. But yeah, comic writing, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of dedication, and you gotta learn a bunch of different aspects of art, not just the illustration portion. But if you're doing it all on your own, then you gotta learn how to write, you gotta learn graphic design, you gotta learn typography, stuff like that. It's hard, but man, it's fun. I know I like, comics are such a new, fun challenge that it's like, I'm never bored with them. Back and ready for top tier drawing. Thank you, I'm struggling. Anatomy people, the final boss battle that I never win against. Just gotta practice. And welcome back, Mega Geek. Gotta go, catch the rest on the replay. This has been great. See y'all in the Discord maybe. Thanks for the stream. Of course, thanks so much for joining. These are funky because it's like the body is twisting. It helps that I'm drawing them shirtless because I know that like it would be a lot harder if I wasn't. Our whole arm is foreshortened, so I'm gonna have to fix that too. This fist is foreshortened too. I know what I was trying to do. Maybe this hand should be splayed instead. No, a fist is more powerful. He's just a small town boy, perhaps. I can't sing the song, but I understand. I can't sing the song because of demonetization, but, you know. Yeah, definitely helps that I'm drawing them shirtless because I don't think I would have made these look. They still don't. With my standards, I don't think these look that great. But it would have looked a lot worse if they had clothes on. Like shirts. Because it's easier to see the twist of the muscles this way. It's my fault for choosing these poses. Truthfully. Okay, what time is it? 5:26. Okay. We might end up going a little bit over time. Hope not. This might be lines only. This might be a lines only one. I mean, we are emphasizing movement, so that's okay. These are going to have action lines this way that I will fix up. And this muscle should be higher, and this one should be lower. There we go. It has been duetted telepathically, yes. Oh yeah, for those of you who have been here for a while longer, finally got my new headphones in, so they're working like a dream. That's why they're now wireless. For those who have been listening to me ramble about how much I hate my headphones. That's not right. You didn't hear it from me. Don't get Razer products. Okay, don't do it. It's not worth it. Razer products just decide not to work with computers sometimes. I got really fed up with it. Now I got a Logitech and this thing works like a dream. Alright. I'm just gonna say it. I'll fix that too, because that's a little bit too sharp in some areas. It's okay. This is a sketch. Jimmy Neutron vibes, not dissing. Just realized the grading. Guys, Harry. Oh, no, definitely. I need to change the motion of this one. It should be going this way because of the way that he's bending. But yeah, definitely. I never watched Jimmy Neutron as a kid, but for some reason when I was a kid, like whenever my dad is also a really big storyteller, and he would always tell stories of his childhood and whatever. And whenever he'd tell them, for some reason I would always visualize him as Jimmy Neutron. My dad is Chinese. I don't know why I visualized him as Jimmy Neutron, who is clearly not Chinese, but you know. It was just, I guess it's because my dad's hair on the Nintendo, on like the Wii, right? When my dad had his Mii, right, it would be like, he had this mouth, and then like, no, it was this nose, and then he had like these eyes with the glasses, and then like his hair was like this on the Nintendo Wii, if any of you had it, right? It kind of looked like that, so I guess that's why, because that's what my dad's hair looked like back in 2009. So his hair no longer looks like that. It is very long now because of quarantine. He hasn't gotten it cut in a really long time, but everyone says to keep it. I think he should keep it. I have a story for everything. Like, you could tell any topic and I have a story for it, I swear. When I draw people, I tend to draw baggy clothes and long hair because I'd fight with anatomy, but they always turn out wonky. So this is not today's statement, but I don't recommend that approach. Baggy hair and baggy clothes are very hard to do. As much as like they cover up your anatomy, the anatomy of clothing is even harder than the anatomy of people, right? Baggy clothes, exceptionally difficult. But yeah, if you're trying to cover up anatomy, it's a great way to do it. But then you got to worry about the anatomy of clothes, which are even tougher, I think. Because clothing folds are rough. But yeah, practice your anatomy. Don't just avoid it. You try flipping the canvas from time to time. That way you can detect the wonkiness early in the process and change it. Yes, flipping your canvas is your best bet. I love listening to you guys give feedback or like tips in the chat, and then whether it's like something that I've taught before, if it's just your own. Should probably change this hand too. I'll do it later. Yeah. Even without flipping the canvas, I know this looks really wonky. Actually, this guy's okay. It's this guy that's annoying me. I'll figure it out. All right. First time ever. Sketch pass 3. Because Lord knows I need it. Yeah, flipping your canvas is like the best thing ever. I'm gonna draw with this flipped. Because this head is kind of like, I think this should be more like that, right? Really accurate game changer, yeah. Yes, clothes are much more harder than the actual body. Yeah, clothes are difficult. I love drawing clothes. I'm such a big fan of drawing fashion, but they are hard. It took me a long time to learn how to draw clothes. I think longer than bodies. Because folds are just really annoying. I still don't think I'm the best at folds, and I still need to practice them a lot. Stories are a gold mine for animations. People tell me that. They're like, you should turn everything that you've experienced into an animatic. And I'm like, maybe one day. I don't know. I'm like, maybe one day I will. All right. Sorry, my brother came in to tell me something. That was a weird one because I love drawing clothes and hair. Oh, I love drawing hair. Hair is like the best ever. My dad and my brother hate drawing hair. I'm from a family of artists, and my brother and my dad always struggle with hair. And I'm like, hair's not that hard. And they're like, it's so hard. And I'm like, no, it's not. My dad's really good at drawing muscles. He's always been a lot better at drawing muscles than I am. Hi. Do you want to say hi to chat?
Hello, chat.
Oh my god. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay. I don't know if you guys can hear her. This is Ray. She's my best friend.
Hello.
Hello. She got me a Kirby for my birthday. Another one to add to my collection. I'm struggling with this pose. It's supposed to be like an action.
Movement, right?
Yeah, it's movement today. I am struggling. It's so hard.
You're doing great. Keep at it.
Thank you. I'm like, I can't get the perspective of this face, right? And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just live with it. Hi, Ray. Faye says hi. Faye says hi. Yes, everybody say hi to Ray. Ray is my, you know how I always say that I can't animate to save my life? Ray is an animator. So I can't animate to save my life. She and Yuri are the animators in my life. Oh, Yuri's here. There she is. The animator in our studio. Yuri's worked overseas in London as an animator for different children's studios. Happy belated. Oh, thank you, Yuri. Yes, I'm finally 2 decades old. Disgusting.
Same amount of years as 10 and 30.
Stop. Stop. Will already said that to me. I can't figure this one out. That's actually okay without the... This forehead is not correct, though. Yes, queens. Yeah, Ray's much better at animation than I'll ever be. I can't, like, that's not happening. No. Every single time that I try to, like, actually animate, I get really frustrated and then just kind of stop midway. And because I get too impatient. I'm not patient enough for animation. 2 decades old. Okay, Mega Geek. You don't rub it in my face. Fun fact, Ray was a co-op student at Wing Campus. Yes, she was. Back when we were both in high school.
Oh man, high school.
Right? It's been so long.
I'm graduating next year.
Oh my god, congrats. Yes, that's right. You're graduating. Colleague. Yes, Ray was a co-op here at Wing Campus a while ago. That's dope. Yeah. It was really fun. I remember from the first day, I think it was like the first day, second day, something like that. And like our first task was to clean the walls outside of the studio because like our
that was so fun.
it was super fun. What's a co-op student? So here in Canada, we have something called cooperative education. And what it is during high school, you have the ability to work somewhere and get experience for the workplace. But yeah, our very first co-op experience was because Wing Campus was not online initially. We were a live studio in Canada. And one of the things we had to do was clean the building because summer camp again used to be live, so the kids would be able to draw on chalk outside on the walls. And they were like, hey, winter is starting, or winter is just about to end, and we need these walls clean again. And the landlord doesn't want all these chalk on the walls. So can you guys clean it? And we were like, sure. And we spent like a good 2 hours outside just like washing the walls. At one point we just started throwing buckets of water on them. And just because it was more fun. I think we went through how many sponges did we go through? We went through too many. I think we went through 5 or something. That's something I'd say, Jessie. All right, understandable. But yeah, no, it was so fun. When we finished, we were all greeted with hot chocolate from Geo. Geo is one of the other well, it's hard to place what Geo does because Geo does everything. So Geo is like our everywhere friend coworker. So we were greeted with hot chocolate either from Geo or Faye. I don't exactly remember because it was a while ago. But yeah, that was a good day. I always drank all the hot chocolate from the studio. That was just, I always felt bad because I was always the one finishing it. All right, 5:37. Okay, there's not that much time left. Or you're watching. I was like, you don't have to stand. You can sit. I folded all my clothes, so it's like now my bed isn't that messy anymore. Ah, yes, if you are curious, we do still have all videos of our physical studio. Oh, there's one there. There's one of my co-op assignments in there. If you want to see my face properly. It's still up there. You remember that? Me filming that one. Geo is our studio unicorn. Very true. Geo is a Wonder Woman of Wing Campus. Very true. It's like, what does Geo do? Everything. Just like everything. It's like if you ever need Geo for something, 99% of the time she will be busy. So it's just like, just go to Faye. Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, we got a lot of history at the studio. I wasn't part of all of it. I am considered one of the quote unquote newer people, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, check out all the other videos that we got on the studio. Cause we got a lot of older ones. So you get to see 12th grade me, I guess. Indeed. Sorry?
2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that gross? Think of us like when we were 18, that was 2 years ago. Or 20 now. Whenever I tell other people, it's like, oh, happy birthday. It's like, how old you turn? And I was like 20. And they're like, really? You're 20 now? I'm like, yeah. I've always wanted to be part of a studio, whether it's an animation or whatever it might be. I feel it hits different. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Working as part of like this whole art studio is so crazy. It's like, it's super, super fun. Just to be part of this whole collective of artists. We're all very different, but it's like we're all very similar in a lot of ways. Even though like we all have like our individuality and whatever. But you know, at the same time, it's like we all kind of have like can empathize with one another. It's really, really fun. Definitely recommend it. Even if it's just a small studio, right? Working in this small studio with a bunch of other people. Really, really fun. The people that are just most common in the chat when it comes to the streams are Faye and Yuri. Sometimes Arunia will pop in as well. Arunia usually teaches more of the youngins. Though she also does some admin stuff. Oh, Jay will sometimes pop in too. Jay is our graphic designer. Or one of our graphic designers. Yeah, be amongst your people and bring something to a community. Definitely. It's great to be part of some kind of art community. The youngins, yeah, the youngins, yeah. Like when I say youngins, I actually had to stop calling my students the youngins because not all of them are youngins. But when we say young, because like our classes are usually kind of separated by age, or it's like age or skill level or whatever. So Arinia usually teaches the kids classes or the beginner classes most of the time. She's really good with the younger kids. I, however, am not patient enough. I found so I usually teach the really advanced classes, or the more advanced classes at least. Oh, I did the whole thing flipped, didn't I? Actually, that looks okay. No, when I did it flipped. But yeah, join our Discord and you can join with the rest of the art nerds over there. I'm pretty active on that server, so if you ever want to see my texting style, I guess. It's the reason why I know that Ghost is named Adam. It's because he's part of our, if you were here earlier in the stream, because Ghost is part of our lovely Discord group. Heading out. All right, thanks so much for joining, Cinnabon Bun. Glad to have you here. Dudes, I think it's finally somewhat coming together. Depending on how quick I finish this, I might be able to do some grayscale shading. We'll see. Bye, thanks so much for joining. I like how I started off with, I don't really like drawing melee fights, and then just ended up defaulting to a melee fight anyway. Like, I was gonna draw a scythe. Like, this guy was originally gonna have like a sword or something and be slashing over this guy, but then I was like, I can't figure out the perspective. I can't figure out the movement for that one. It's okay. Looks amazing, thank you. I heard grayscale lol. I should come back later to check it out. Perhaps. I said I might do it. If I do, then you can definitely check it out. But I might not. It depends on how much time I got left. I don't think that this would actually... I don't think you can actually see that. I don't think so. Might be able to see like a hint of the eyelashes. I don't think you can actually see the eyes though, because it's covered by the nose. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Definitely, I've been into a Huge art block lately, so I feel like being in a chill art community will help a lot. Absolutely, yeah, we're pretty chill on the Discord. We don't really chat's not super active all the time. A lot of us just like to share our artwork. Sometimes I'll post personal work in there too. Haha, but if you want to see my comic pages, that's on Webtoon. Shameless plug. I have a link tree. Link trees are easy to make, actually. I didn't think they would be. And I was like, oh, I'll figure it out, I guess. Because it was either, I was going to either make a card or a link tree. And I was like, all right, I'll see what link tree is like first. It's really easy. So if you ever need like just a large group of links for anything, use Linktree. This is not a promotion for Linktree. It's just I like the way it handles. Their UI is nice. That's me going into like 5 bajillion topics at once. All right, I think this is going to be the final sketch pass because I think I'm like just satisfied enough with this one where I can move on to actually lining it. You're on Webtoon, same here. Nice. I just started re-uploading there because it was originally on, my webcomic was originally on Instagram. And Instagram is not ideal for uploading comics. So when I finished chapter 1, I was like, hey, I'm gonna move to Webtoon and to Pass. So it was a little bit easier that way. So I only started last week, but feels good to finally get it out there. Sorry, if I ever go kind of silent, it means I'm kind of like just focusing on something. Or I'm thinking. It's hard sometimes. See, I don't understand it. So I feel you understand. What's the name of my webtoon? It is Say Hello, Grayson. Say hello. Grayson. It's generally family friendly. It just gets a little bit spooky sometimes. Oh, I guess I should have left that up for a bit longer. There we go. Say hello, Grayson. That's what it's called. If you actually want to find it. It's on Webtoon and on Linktree. Or not Linktree, sorry, To Pass. So if you prefer reading on To Pass, it's there too. So yeah, there's only 3 pages up right now because I upload weekly on Mondays. I should probably put that somewhere other than in my Instagram bio. Yeah, this is rough to deal with because of the Oogly Boogly. I love that name. I don't know why, but I just do. Honestly, I don't even remember how I came up with that name. I know how Gray got his name though. Grayson, the main character. He was originally, he and a bunch of other characters were just doodles before one of my classes originally, and I really liked the character design, and I was like, I said to my friend, a different Rachel, but she went like, I was like, hey, what do you think I should name this guy? And she went like, she said Greg, but I misheard her. And I thought she said Gray. And I was like, oh, Gray's so cute. And she was like, really? Right? And I'm like, yeah, Gray. And she's like, oh, I said Greg. And I'm like, oh, no, not Greg, but I like Gray. So his name was more of an accident than anything. But hey, worked out. And then Grayson became his full name. And I spell it with an E. I know a lot of people like the A, but I spell it with an E. What's my Insta? It's Television. Telii. Television. It's like a weird spelling of television with 2 I's instead. Can't wait for the new episode. Thank you, Dudu. Found it. I'll read that for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're not sick of listening to me ramble, I ramble a lot on Instagram. So if you wanna on my story. It's over 1 a.m. over here. Gotta go. Thanks for the lesson. Really learned a lot. Maybe I'll defo catch the next live. Thanks for joining. Glad you could. Alright, we are almost done here. I've got about 10 minutes. Oh, I might actually just leave this as a sketch then, if we've only got 10 minutes left. I'll try to line this. I think we're almost done here. Because I can't go too overtime this time around. I will try, though. If I start lining, then I will definitely finish it within the stream. Yeah, love to see you again, if you are able to. Jessie, I feel called up because I too am guilty of that. That's okay. Ramble to your heart's content. I just end up rambling about, like, how distraught I am about the last webcomic I read. Or vaccination appointments or whatever. Which I waited for 3 hours for this morning, and I didn't even get one. So mad. Sorry?
Saw your message about that.
So mad.
Sad.
So bad. Next week is the frog stream. You're gonna miss it, though. That's okay. It'll be recorded. You can watch it later. It's the reptile stream, but I'm kind of blending the amphibians with the reptiles, just because they're, like, similar enough, you know? One of my friends would tell me that this form is really off, and I'm like, listen, dude, I'm not here to worry about form. I just want the aesthetic, you know? One of my friends who used to take Taekwondo. Same. I don't have anyone to ramble for Webtoon, so I rant alone. Yeah, I usually just scream to the void about it. Or if Ray is awake, then I'll shout at her about it. Definitely watch the replay. Yes, yes. For those of you who have never been to one of our animal live streams, technically this movement live stream is a bit of an intruder. So we are in the middle of our animal series. Reptiles and amphibians will be our final one. So we will be learning a bit about reptile anatomy and all that fun stuff. We'll probably finish it off with, because a lot of the lessons are teaching the relationship between human anatomy and animal anatomy. So we'll finish it off with a character who is blended with reptile anatomy, a humanoid. But yeah, that's what's going to be happening then. And that is our final one for our animal live streams. Then I believe after that, we're going to be starting our live streams based on our camp themes. So we'll be kind of going back to the old format of our live streams, which was mostly request based, for a lot of the themes from what I can tell. Because a lot of them are like anime based or cartooning based and stuff like that. This is actually pretty clean. You know what? I'll clean it up just a little bit. I'll keep it somewhat rough, though. Let's turn off opacity by pressure. Turn the ooze up by 2. Now let's try this. Oops. Then I can make it a little bit rougher. There we go, because I always find that I line faster when it's rougher. Can't wait for that. Yay! Hope to see you there. Oh, not 5. Let's turn it up to 3. One of our new instructors is really good with rough line work, and I am not the best with rough line work. I like my lines being extra clean. I'm not great with sketched line work. I love the aesthetic of it, though. Ugh, no, I lied. I can't work with line work this rough on Medibang. Handles a little bit differently than Photoshop. So I don't want to go too overtime. Trying to speed this up just a smidge. Love the Ghost Kids video where you showed character design, especially the components, the seaweed, the barnacles, the mushrooms, and moss. Yes, really adds depth if that makes sense. Yeah, definitely. Every aspect of a character design is really, really important. When you look at a character, that's with visual storytelling. I talked about that during the character design video. But your visual storytelling is really, really important. It really is, right? Especially when you're looking at a character, it really helps give them an extra life. So I get that with the depth. It gives them an extra bit of life. It kind of helps with their story overall, right? Yeah, your visual storytelling is really important. Sometimes your visual storytelling isn't going to be as apparent, right? Especially if you have like modern people, right? You look at somebody on the street, you can't tell their whole story just by looking at them once, right? Like your average Joe or whatever. But especially with fantasy and stuff like that, fantasy and horror and all of that fun kind of fictional, all those fictional genres, your visual storytelling is really good to have in mind. Character design lessons are my favorite to teach. When I teach Art Mentorship, which will not be running during the summer, but I do have a character design camp. Haha, that one will be happening. There was my mini plug. Another mini plug in there. But yeah, I love teaching character design. It's just really, really fun. It can be hard to get, but it's a lot of fun. Harder, especially for fantasy. Yeah, I love drawing hair. Hair is so fun. Just all these long streaks of everything. You know what I'm saying? I am trying to move quicker, though. It is really close to 6 o'clock, so I want to make sure that we can get this done fairly quickly. Or quick enough, at least, you know. But I don't want it to be so rushed to the point where it doesn't look good, you know. I want to give you quality. Because mostly when you see characters, it's somewhat generic, where the hair is just different colors and quirky print, which is fine, but it doesn't capture or give the character life. Yes. Yeah, a lot of animes are kind of subject to that. That's called some same face syndrome, and that happens when it's like you rely on just like hair to distinguish characters from one another. Just not great, right? So using different ethnicities, body types, facial shapes, right? Really important to your characters. Those two ghost kids look pretty similar, but still, you know what I mean? Okay, pro. Hello. Spinaca. Hello. Welcome in. Them luscious strands. L'Oreal indeed. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Ye who has the excellent Kirby profile picture. I can see it there with the epic Photoshop face on it. Love that. The more Kirby content, the better. That's what I say. All right. Don't get me started about Kirby. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna go down well. It's just not a good idea. Trying to make the detail lines a little bit thinner. Your purple lines are pretty great. I would have been lazy and changed the lines to black. Fair enough, right? I was tempted, but I know I would hate myself if I didn't line it a little bit more. So, might as well. Jessie has a Kirby obsession. Yeah, don't worry. I'd My love for Kirby has extended through the years. It's like, you think you have brain rot. My friend, I have had the same brain rot since 2009, okay? My love for Kirby extends years. My lines are too sketchy, so it wouldn't have worked for me. Some people are fairly messy with their lines, or their sketches, and that's fine, as long as you kind of clean it up afterwards, you know? I also had 3 sketch passes, so the very first sketch is quite messy compared to the final, right? That compared to what we got here, right? As long as you kind of work through it. I didn't erase enough. There we go. Those fingers are funky. I'm gonna change this one because it's bothering. Actually, no, I gotta change these ones because they're bothering me. I don't like the shape of them. Yep. This is me being picky with my forms, even though I really shouldn't be right now. I'm just trying to speed through a little bit more. But hey, don't be like me. You know, try to do everything to the best of your ability. Try to do everything to the best of your ability, but sometimes good enough is better than perfect, and know when to stop with the perfection. Oh my god, Ray sat beside me, scared the crap out of me for a second. I was like, I saw something moving out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, this should be thicker. These lines should be thicker because it's coming towards us. But also the action lines to be moving a little bit more. I guess I struggled so much, still do, with anatomy. So anyone who draws people, I'm all y'all on another level. Anatomy is tough. Anatomy is tough, especially if you're not used to it. It's a lot of measurements and kind of learning how things are measured and relativity and all that fun stuff. We have an anatomy stream that was compressed down into a shorter video by lovely Jessie, who is our YouTube video editor. And she's great at it. Jessie and I went to the same high school. She's a lovely human being and super, super talented. So feel free to check that out. Sometimes I find I draw better when I'm on a timer, absolutely. Because it's like, I think it's kind of the psychology behind it too. It's like you're kind of reasoning why things don't look as good. It's like, it's because I had like 2 minutes, you know? Or you're thinking less about it, right? I guess. Sometimes the non-thinky art always looks a little bit better. Yes, we do have a whole series and a whole set of videos all about. We have a whole set of videos on human anatomy and all that. Hello, you want to say hi to chat? No. No. Okay, bye. Ray prepping for Spooktober early on. Chat says you're preparing for Spooktober early. Always. Some friends are here to celebrate my birthday, by the way. That's why there are people coming in and out of my room. Don't suffocate her. If I can bypass it, I'm going to be eternally grateful. Yes. I tried to make the anatomy videos as simple as I can. Anatomy overall is just really difficult, though, so just, like, do your best. Alright, we're almost done here. We got, like, one more figure, and then we're good. Oh, that's a tangent. No. Dang it. For those of you who don't know, I keep saying that's a tangent. It's because when you have a tangent, it's when two things align a little too closely on an art piece, right? Generally, you don't want things to align very, very perfectly. You want to avoid tangents at all costs, right? I'm not going to draw my usual tutorial thing for it. So you can just kind of look it up. But tangents are, you want to avoid the middle costs when you are designing and drawing. It's when things align just a little bit too perfectly, and you want to avoid that. Because it can make your artwork look really unnatural. Not great for your work. Let's get it. Let's get it. Epic swag. Alright, we're almost done. This guy's left. He's a little bit easier. Just because all his stuff is in one place. Yes, our community polls are where we take requests for certain things, because our polls are where we take requests for our next streams. Especially, you know, like, because sometimes, you know, we'll have, it'll always be for the final illustration. So the subject will always, the lesson they'll always have planned, but the thing that the final illustration will always be a poll, so you guys can vote on that. And then sometimes we do stuff, we take requests and stuff on our Discord as well. So we also have secret streams on Discord. Sometimes we have mini kind of like late night streams with me, where you can kind of watch me work on Photoshop and work on personal work instead of, you know, stuff that's a little more centered on other things. Okay, give me a second. Sorry. All right, we're back. Epic, epic, epic. It's weird. I don't have like a headset mic anymore, or headset like mute button anymore, so I gotta mute it manually. So glad I found out about you guys the time I did. Oh, I'm glad you did too. Happy to have you on here. Dude, why am I struggling so much with this? It's because I'm not used to these liners. I'm not used to lining with this. I keep saying like we're almost done. I just keep going over time. It's okay. It's okay. There was only once where I went to like, what was it, 6 o'clock? 6:30 almost is one of them. I think that was the Pokemon one actually. That one I almost went to 6:30 on. Just because I was having a lot of fun drawing Zora work. That character was so much fun to design. If you want to check them out, I think we condensed those ones too into a yes, we did, because I wrote that script. We condensed those into a shorter video as well if you want to check those out. Kind of our older live streams. Ah, thank you. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Ray. Numuik in chat is that's Ray sitting behind me. Appreciate it. You guys are very welcoming. Of course. Try to be as welcoming as possible. You want to say hi to chat?
Who?
Chat. We're almost done. I'm almost done. Don't worry. We're almost done. When you say almost done, it's 8 hours later. I'm almost done. The line work is almost done. I'm struggling with this. Hi, Ray. Chat says hi again, Ray.
It's too small anyways.
It's like 6 centimeters apart, maybe.
Okay. I'm starting, whenever I start to move faster, it's like my line work gets messier, but somehow it feels a little more fluid. So it's like, I gotta warm up a little bit. I should always start before I stream by lining a piece, just to get my my wrist working, you know? Yes, Ray says hello. Oh, this is off. No. Bruh. This deck is wild.
What's the YouTube list?
Yeah, we stream on YouTube for the studio.
Okay.
Every single aspect of your character will add to the movement, right? Whether it's bits of the clothing or bits of the body, right? The hair will add on to your movement, right? Your hair counts as leading lines, right? You can kind of tell this character is moving downwards because of the area that the hair is pointing in, right? Hair will always follow through with the movement of the character, right? So this hair is moving this way. You can kind of tell the character themselves twisting that way, right? Yeah, new lick is Ray.
Why are you laughing? You get the vaccine? Yeah. Damn it. Wait, all of you? What's this? Oh, YouTube monetization.
Yeah, you want to say hi to him?
Oh, can I?
Yeah, I mean, they can hear you.
Pause.
Thanks.
Unspecified virus of unknown origin.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, like, is that Tagalog? I can't speak Tagalog. I can recognize it though, kind of. Jesse sounds like there's a party in your room. There's a few people in here.
I'll just hug you again.
He's like on edge.
There's a few people in here. Don't worry, we've all been vaccinated.
Oh dear.
That was loud.
Stop.
You want to say hi to chat? There's just more and more people coming in here.
This room.
We're really close, guys. I keep saying that, but this time I mean it. We're really close.
I busted
You brought cinnamon buns? Thank you.
I burned my leg.
Like it's a collective crackhead. I mean, fair enough, I guess. We've all known each other since we were 14, I think. Around- No, I've known you since we were like,
Babies.
oh god, before 10 years old. Definitely. Maybe 8 or 7.
Before the war. So.
Before the war. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we've all known each other for way too long. I think that's just the way.
Jessica, what is it?
What's what?
It looks like the thing that I sprayed on my bike when I was a kid. The thing with the tube.
Which one? Where?
The tube, the...
Oh, the blue
spray
cube?
Thing.
The blue cube?
No,
This thing.
spray can.
Oh, that's a compressed air
Or what?
to clean stuff.
Oh.
Then, using a Q-tip.
This must be the place. Much more space, much less confined, and there's much for all your parts.
Horribly overpriced.
All right. Okay, have fun.
Bye, chat.
The stocks are alright. The stocks are low for all the parts.
Bye. I'll meet you down there. All right, one leg left. And then we're good. Oh, no, there's a hand here. That's okay. We're almost done. I've said that so many times. It's okay. Maybe I should have just turned these lines black. Oh, well. So be it, I suppose. Yeah, it's chaos, don't worry. I think we were more chaotic back in high school, but we've all kind of mellowed out now that we're all like a little bit older. um yeah, no, it was definitely chaos back in high school. The stream has single-handedly made me want to volunteer intern in the character design video. Yeah, it's super fun here. I've been working at Wing Canvas for about 2 years now. I believe it's 2 years. Yeah, I think I started in 2019. So it's been about 2 years. Technically, my anniversary of being a part of Wing Canvas was in February, but as an actual employee, it will be. Oh, actually, no. It will have already passed because summer break just started here in Canada. Fun, fun, fun. Hey, it's been about 2 years. All right, y'all. There we have it. Finally. We are done. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. If you didn't know, we are not only a YouTube channel, we are also a art studio. So if you'd like to check out some of the classes that we offer and all the other resources that we have, feel free to check them out on our website. And this file, along with this one, will both be available as JPEGs on our Discords. If you'd like to check those out, feel free to check them out in the links in the description below. Keep them safe and do whatever you want with them. Just don't repost them. They are all yours to reference when you download them as JPEGs. But if you'd like access to any of my layers, you are going to have to join our Patreon, where I upload my working files onto there every other week. So be sure to check those out and join our Patreon, so you can also get sneak peeks and behind the scenes stuff all for our studio and YouTube channel. But thank you guys so much for joining this time around. It kind of got messy at the end, I'm sorry. But thanks so much for joining, and I will see y'all next week when we have the reptile stream. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.